It's not the most anticipated game of the year like the commercials seem to suggest, however Fall of Cybertron does mark the return of the Autobots and Decepticons back to the familiar battleground of Cybertron, and unlike last year's poorly received Dark of the Moon, High Moon Studios has actually been given some time to develop this one. Does it stand up to the high pedigree set by War for Cybertron, or is this one fall you'd rather not take? The game makes no mistake in getting the point across that these are the final days of the Cybertron War era. Without spoiling anything, the story ties itself up nicely. Granted, not enough time is given to certain plot points, making the story feel really rushed. And you can see that there's easily enough material here for another game, but sadly Hasbro wanted the ending to tie itself into the Transformers Prime television series, which it doesn't actually do that well due to certain characters still being active at the end of the game. And even that dumb excuse they gave for Bumblebee not talking just seems like they're grasping at straws that aren't there. All of the characters have their own level-specific gimmicks. Jazz's grappling hook sections and Grimlock's rage transformation shine through as some of the best executed ones. Unfortunately, as you play the game, you begin to see that High Moon's running out of ideas, and as a result, certain characters are almost carbon copies of one another. And as much fun as it may seem to play as Bruticus, it isn't. He controls sluggishly, and the game tends to lag when you're moving him around. One fan-favorite feature, dearly missed from War for Cybertron, is the co-op campaign, which has been completely removed so that chapters can be more character-specific. And as much as I bagged on this one when it was first announced, I can now understand why the story was implemented this way. The voice acting flows much better, and you really feel like you're in that authentic Transformers experience when the game locks you down to only one character. This is very specific to the Grimlock and Megatron levels. The online is miles better than War for Cybertron. Customization has been severely tweaked, and you can now customize every part of your individual Transformer, although the chest part dictates the vehicle you morph into. Color and metallic coating can be chosen, and you can even name your Transformer. Disappointingly, you can only choose your color from a list of preset palettes, but hey, there's black, there's silver. Game balancing has been nearly tweaked to perfection. No one class feels gimped. Seekers are pretty much a necessity on your team since damage has been balanced so you can no longer own an entire team as only one character. In fact, teamwork seems to be the main focal point of Fall of Cybertron, with the game mode Deathmatch being completely removed altogether, and in its place Capture the Flag and Headhunters from the Halo series. To further tweak balancing, grenades and kill streaks have also been removed, Warcry has been dropped, and every class only has one ability. The servers are definitely more improved, but they're not perfect. When a host leaves the game, it goes through host migration, but it's a lot more trouble than it's worth. If you happen to be pounding on an enemy before the migration, their health gets completely refilled, and they can easily defeat you before you even know it. Escalation also makes a return, although this time around it feels more streamlined with players being able to choose their own difficulty and the fact that there's now only 15 waves, making the mode extremely anticlimactic. Though this is a good thing for beginners, it limits the mode's lasting addictiveness it used to have. The drive to do better and better is diminished when you can only go as high as everybody else. The soundtrack is quite well made with some memorable level themes, the main theme of which gets a big thumbs up for having some beautiful orchestral chants. Transforming effects and vehicle sounds are also well done, despite the fact that while the sounds of the vehicles driving may be getting higher and higher, they aren't in fact speeding up. The voice acting is also stellar and features some great talent, in particular with the characters of Jazz, Starscream, and Optimus. Also, I'm not going to spoil it, but if you were a fan of a certain movie that came out in the day, then you'll like the credits sequence. At first it seems that High Moon has taken the easy way out. Menus are the exact same as War for Cybertron, and even the same voice clips are being reused. One of the maps is a carbon copy of Complex, only with different textures, and while the visuals look good, they still have the problems of loading during cutscenes. Also, I thought at first High Moon was being very lazy, reusing almost every character model while not adding very many new ones. This is of course until I realized that there's a whole bunch of new character models on the disc. They just aren't accessible until you pay the DLC price. And this is downright unacceptable and a dirty move. These characters were in the game when it shipped, and some of them are even playable in other game modes. Granted, this was done with War for Cybertron, but at least on War for Cybertron it was released later in the year, not on the freaking launch date. The disappointing part is I know this isn't High Moon's fault. It's the fault of the publisher Activision. They're a very greedy company, and if they keep this up, they're bound to soil their reputation like Capcom did with their community.
Found you hiding, we found you lying, choking on the dirt and sand, your former glory.
So is Fall of Cybertron better than War for Cybertron? Well, yes. And is it, as of right now, the best Transformers game on the market? Yes, it is. And do I recommend it to any Transformers fans getting it? Yes, I do. However, I will not stand for this mass marketing strategy of DLC and encourage that if you do purchase the game, to send Activision a message by not buying the DLC.